Here's another question. All right, so I have a question. Let's say you need to review a lot of material while you're searching for a job, and there's a window where you need to put these materials on your resume, and you're still learning them. What would you recommend to do in this scenario? Do you put them on your resume or not? The short answer is yes, put them on your resume. And the way that you put them on your resume is really key, right? I mean, the short answer for what to put on your resume is to put authentic things on your resume. Don't pad your resume, but don't undersell yourself. And we'll talk about this when we talk about resumes in general. The resume is the primary instrument of trust with one sole purpose: get an interview. That means don't give up too much information on your resume. Your resume is supposed to troll them. It's supposed to tease them, right? And it's supposed to get them to want to talk to you more. It's like, oh my God, that sounds so amazing, but I want to know more. How am I ever going to know more? Now, we'll talk about that's a whole separate video about resumes. I'll probably repeat it again. The reason the resume is this, unless you're a very experienced person and you got a CV, curriculum vitae, you're not. It's not an exhaustive list of everything you've ever done. The goal of the resume is to get an interview, and or to get past HR because you've already got the interview because you made a professional network connection, and they want you to interview, and they'll say you just need to submit a resume to HR to get past that requirement, right? But if you're so again the resume is like, oh, damn, I got to hear more about this person. You know, why do they have this thing on there? So based on that, and when you ask the question, well, should you put the technologies that you want to learn on there? My answer is yes, right? And you can put that however you want. I don't have a strong opinion about how you do that. I personally think having a small section saying actively pursuing or actively learning, or, you know, under your education section, there's some debate about whether you should have an education section at all. But under the education section, I would put actively pursuing certification in Kubernetes, actively seeking blah, 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 under your education section. If you're enrolled in a course, which some people put more credence in than other things, I don't, then, you know, that kind of thing. And it's not lying to say that you're actively pursuing mastery of cybersecurity, you know, as specific as you can get. Pen testing, blue. The more precise, the better in general on your resume. And so if you put a bullet point or a line item in your education section that says that you are actively pursuing your MCSC certification, you haven't got it yet, that shows that you have got the commitment. That shows that you have, I mean, if they ask you about it, you can say, yeah, I'm paying for this out of my own money because I believe in staying current. I mean, it just makes you look awesome, right? Because you're going to be able to talk about why you think that this is the right thing. And that goes back to another video I made already about knowing what you want to do down to the precise job. If you know, you shouldn't even embark on your tech career journey without knowing what tech job you are training for. And I've covered this in lots of videos. Go to skillstab.io. You can go look at the outline. But if you haven't got that answered, you need to back up. You need to back up because you could be potentially wasting time like I did. So I have a story about this. I'm going to give you a quick story about this. So in 2020, I thought I wanted to change careers. I wanted to be in cybersecurity. I started going down that path. I made a hard autodidactic plan. I'm going to go get the OSCP. I weighted against all the other certs that I wanted to get at WWGU. I did all the research all the time. I started streaming about it, got really popular, had like 400 or 500 people on average because they wanted to learn all hacking and they thought I was some sort of crazy ass hacker. But they were all disappointed when they learned. And then I stopped. Because the more I got into it, the more I realized the hacking was not about breaking. I've talked about this in other videos, but I learned that it wasn't about breaking into things. That's pen testing and bug bounty, which you can do without having it be your career. But what I really wanted to do was operations, and with a security focus. And if you watch my GitHub Action videos recently, you'll see why, publishing artifacts over SSH and things like that. Security applies to all the things. So the bottom line, I realized I didn't want to do cybersecurity analyst. I wanted to be an infrastructure engineer, which I kind of already was, just wanted to do that better and have this be a security focus. And so I stayed on that path. And when I was hired, and this is relevant to the resume question. So when I was hired, I had zero experience for Kubernetes, and I was hired as a Kubernetes engineer. And they knew that I was going to be able to learn it. And one of the things on my resume was pursuing Kubernetes. I said, actively maintain a Kubernetes lab at home, working on building a Kubernetes lab at home. And if you want to put that under a project section, which I think is a strong thing to do, I particularly in technology, having a projects section that has your current active projects, both professionally, nonprofit, or even on the job, I think you should make, because the whole point again is to get you in the door, and you want to wow them. And under your project section is where your passion projects are going to be. And if you don't have a place to put your passion project, and a lot of your passion projects are going to be such as building your own lab Kubernetes cluster at home, that passion project is also going to be doing double duty to teach you how to do it by knowing how to set up a CNI, or set up your own storage classes and things like that you cannot do in the cloud. By being able to articulate why you're doing that in your own home lab in an interview, and even put a bullet point so they'll ask about it in the resume, on your resume, so they ask about it. I think that's the way to go. So a project section saying education, if it's more formal, like pursuing as blah blah blah, and under the project section is say building Kubernetes lab to better understand hardware node deployment. Look at that, right? So that's like a line item on your projects. It shows dedication to doing things, to learning on your own, and it shows that you're willing to literally put your money where your mouth is by building out a lab in your own house that you can then use indirectly as an asset for the company. Okie dokie.